Hi, my name is Michael Idaraji, and we are doing a second video with spiritual drawings, and we're probably going to use a bunch of these because we have a whole lot of drawings, maybe over 100 of them. And a quick recap, drawings is the way to connect to your spirit because you're doing something with your hands, and your hands take in the information or the spiritual information from your spirit and it puts it on the paper. It doesn't matter what anybody intends on drawing. That is irrelevant. If you know what to look for, something will happen. And let me give you a unique case. This is a man in his late 50s with his wife. I met them one night at a lounge, and there's two flowers here, and this other blue stuff. The man didn't draw the blue stuff. His wife drew that. But let's pretend this is not here for now. Anything that's blue is not there, so only the orange. When someone is drawing, what they're doing is they're bringing up something from the spirit. It could be something from their past. It could be something that happened to them where they were frozen, and something happens. A lot of times when something does happen like this, it wouldn't always have to be what is being drawn, but it could be their mannerisms might change. Or they might say something that is really like doesn't make sense or doesn't fit in. And that's what happened here. The drawing by itself wasn't really that revealing, but what he said was. So let me tell you what he said. Remember, he only drew the orange. So he drew these two people holding on to that circle in the middle. So then I had asked him, what's going on here? And at first he didn't know what to draw. And then finally when he did draw, he said that there are two people holding on to a single breast. Aha. That's interesting. Two people holding on to a single breast. Yeah, you're probably thinking the same thing. I'm like, wow, this guy, something's wrong here. But it doesn't matter. This is what he drew. And remember, the drawing is something that the child does from 3 to 5 years old. And that's also the doorway to the pregenital stage. Remember when we did the different stages? Let's get to that picture. See? Oops, sorry about that. We're here at the pregenital stage, right? Pregenital, genital. This is where the drawings happen. This is where you make your connection with the opposite sex parent. So now we have a drawing that has to do with two people holding on to a breast. Now I was dumbfounded. I had no idea. I was like, oh, I've been doing this now for over 100 drawings, and I got every one of them. There was not one that really slipped by me, and I'm like, maybe I'm kind of done here, and I have to reevaluate what I'm doing. So I keep talking to him. So I said to him, I said, what is this? Is this a planet? Two people holding a planet? Why did you draw two people? So I pressed and pressed and pressed, and then all of a sudden, here comes the story. He tells me this story. He tells me that when he was 4 years old, he said he made something with Play-Doh. I said, Play-Doh? I said, who? The like Socrates Plato kind of guy? That philosopher? Whatever he was? He goes, no, Play-Doh. I'm like, oh, okay, Play-Doh. All right. So he made something. And this is what he said. These are his words. Now, remember, you heard me say that they say something interesting, like a certain word's going to pop out at you. He said he had made a Play-Doh creation. This is what he said. And that's a pretty interesting word, creation. Remember, the guy's in his 50s, late 50s, and now he's saying, I made this Play-Doh creation. I'm like, okay. So he says he made this Play-Doh creation, and he made it so to show it to his father. Now remember what we said here about opposite sex parent, right? We said about that, right? So now he made something right at the right age, 3 years old, out of Play-Doh, or 3 or 4. I think it was 4. It was more accurate. He was 4 years old. He made it out of Play-Doh. And then he was saving it so that when his father came home from work, he could show his father. Well, he put it on the radiator during the day. So then his father comes home. And let's see, it was a winter's day, and the radiator was on all day, and the Play-Doh was, his creation was on top of the radiator. What do you think happened to that Play-Doh creation? It freaking melted all over the place. So what do you think his father did when he got home? That's right. You got it. His father tanned his backside. He must have got a beating that day, or he was very, very deep in trouble that day. So then, now, first, he's showing his creativity to the same-sex parent instead of the opposite-sex parent. Because remember, when you're dealing with the opposite-sex parent, is a doorway of the sexuality for the future, is the doorway for your relationships in the future. So that's, now it makes more sense why two people are holding on to one breast in the middle. It kind of makes sense now because he was showing it to the opposite sex parent. But this really wasn't what was in view. It was the story that was important, because that's what this memory brought up. When he was drawing, he went back to that time when he created something for his father. Now, immediately I turned to the wife. And then I looked at her, and I was a little bit arrogant at the time. Maybe not arrogant, but maybe like contempt I had in my voice. And I said to her, I said, did he tell you this story? And she says, yeah, he told me this story. I said, do you know what you need to do right now? After, you know what you need to buy tomorrow? She goes, I need to buy some Play-Doh. Needless to say that the wife and the husband, especially the wife, she must have thanked me like 40 times that night. And she came back to the lounge next week on that same Friday, and she told all the staff, because I was regular at the time. Actually, I don't drink at the time, but I was a regular anyway because I was really testing out this drawing thing on strangers. I didn't want to know anybody. I didn't want to try it out on friends and family, even though I did it on friends and family. But I knew this was going to be something that was bigger. And when they came back, they actually told everyone to say hello for us and said thank you. And they were there. They even had blocks in their business. The wife had her drawer, and then after she realized what she was doing, now she knew what was holding her back in her business as well. And this probably changed their lives. And who knows, maybe they'll see this picture once. But it was a wonderful couple. But when I did say, now here's the blue flowers now. This was an interesting woman, though. She was great. When we did find out, when he did tell us, the husband did tell us that he drew a breast in the two people, she immediately tried to cover it up with the flowers. So she was a really good wife in that she tried to cover his raw exposure there. So that was really sweet. So she drew the two flowers, which actually the two flowers represents her and him. But that's another story altogether. But that was this picture that day. But now let me go through another one. And this woman now, she was in a turmoil in her life or something. She's in her 20s. I'd say 27, 28. And let me tell you what happened here. Pretend there's no color here. There's no yellow, there's no red, and there's no hearts. Okay? There's no hearts in here. And no green. There was no green either. There was only a black and white picture. And she's drawing this picture, and I'm looking at her, and she's drawing this picture. And then all of us I said to her, I said, you're not breathing. The second she took this gigantic breath, and the first thing that she breathed in and breathed out, she drew these hearts. So it's as if now you understand, this is like her lungs now got filled with the spirit, and when she took in that air, love finally came into her consciousness. Because look, she said this is her reading a book. Meanwhile, if you look at the head, you look at the sun, and you look at that, they're all similar. But how can she read a book if she doesn't have eyes? I don't know. So there's something there. She really can't see the book. And just like she couldn't realize that she wasn't breathing. And then once she started breathing that one time, and I forced her to breathe after that, then all the color came into the picture. So, you know, one of the things that happen when we have blocks in our lives is we try and upset our breathing. Just like when you become in a fearful situation, the first thing you do is you stop breathing. Even if people get into a fight, the first thing that they do is stop breathing. The breathing becomes very erratic, and when you need the breathing the most to calm yourself, it's not there. And that's what happened to her. And she wasn't breathing. It was amazing. So as you could see, the hearts only came out when she started breathing. So that means these hearts weren't there. They weren't there. If they weren't here, that means they weren't in the body as well. They weren't in the body as well. And that was what happened in this picture. And clearly she did have irregular breathing. And the irregular breathing is if you're breathing, that means you're connecting from your head into your lower abdomen. But if you upset that breathing or you don't want to breathe, then you're not going to bring in air to your lower abdomen. You're kind of like suffocating your body. You're suffocating your spirit to keep yourself away from spirit. Just like, and I think she smoked as well, just like smoking does. The smoking is a way to have dominion over your spirit by you're poisoning your air. You know, Adam and Eve, when you heard Adam and Eve, when God formed Adam, he breathed into his nostrils. And also the Bible's spirit is like a breath, the breath of the Spirit of God. So this all related to our truth of everything. And it's the same understanding that's going to manifest in all the videos. There's going to be the same thread. There's going to be a like an 8 through everything. Like you'll see that everything's interrelated. And even these pictures, they're interrelated because the head can't draw. It has to get information from the spirit. And when the head does draw, it draws a very rigid formula, checks, boxes type drawings, maybe dots even. So these are 2 more drawings that we went through. We'll go through more drawings. And again, if you have a chance, draw and show it to someone who's present, who will appreciate, who will be there when you tell them about your drawings. And a healing will happen when that happens. And again, my name is Michael Idadaji. And again, we're going to do more videos on this. And may God bless you and give you more understanding. Bye.